though he scores too much benefit yesterday night. So that is something that one has to keep in mind. And here goes Zahid Khan, not Zahir Khan. Zahid Khan, economy of 8.14. That's 2 for 39, so he's gone for runs. Zahid Khan, beautiful start. 35 for no loss. Usman Ghani continuing with his good form. 19 so far, and Hazratullah Zazai.
Curious, Corey, I have another fantasy question, again for the benefit of all our fantasy viewers watching this telecast for the very first time. In the case of a league, sorry, I'm going to come back because like I said, these two bowlers, batsmen rather, aren't necessarily allowing us to complete our sentences. They are in form and on song. Good cut shot, width on offer, and Zazai doesn't miss out, cuts that to the point, fielder, to the point, boundary rather, and fetches himself 4 runs, and more importantly, I get myself 5 points as well. Right, Boria, in a league like the Shpageeza Cricket League, and with all the fantasy players, with a majority of them from India, playing this game, watching this broadcast, when you aren't necessarily fully aware about most of these players, how do you go about picking your team? It's very different in the IPL, in the CPL, the Big Bash, and some of the other leagues, but there are certain names that we're well versed with in Afghan cricket. But when we have many unknown names, how do we go about picking a fantasy 11?
Navneet, you was asking me a question. I had lost you there. Can you repeat that question once?
Apologies for the viewers, guys. Just a little bit of a technical issue. We do have Boria back. And Boria, my question was, for all the fantasy viewers and fantasy players here, I'm going to come back. Nice little hike for no run though. When it is a campaign like the SPL, which isn't same as the IPL or the BBL or the CPL, where we're well versed with all the players and the franchises and the teams, when it comes to the SPL, we aren't necessarily fully aware about the players, the names, what they do, which position they bat, when they bowl, because they're relatively new names. How does one go about picking a fantasy team when you're unaware about who the players are and you don't know much about them?
No, that's the wrong way to even contemplate playing fantasy. You have to know, and that's another one. What a rollicking start this is from Hazratullah Zazai and Usman Ghani. The fact of the matter is, Navneet, you have to know if you want to play something. Now tell me something. If you want to cook, do you want to tell me that you will go and cook without knowing what the ingredients are? I mean, you can't, right? If you want to go drive a car, will you go and drive without knowing how to sort of switch on the ignition? No, you won't. So you cannot play fantasy if you say that, no, I don't know the names of the players. Go do your research. There is plenty out there. Now, if you are a serious fantasy player, you will go do your research. This is what interest is all about. And Hazratullah Zazai making it count here. 19 and Usman Ghani 19. 43 for no loss of 4.5. I mean, in my case, none of us were, this is not rocket science, Krishna, none of us knew about fantasy cricket till several years back. We have all gotten used to it and started learning about it, and we are now sort of active players who are making the most of it.
I think the long story short from Boria is that you want to make sure you're fully prepared, you have the research done before you play a fantasy game. It really is plenty of fun, and it can be a lot more exciting if you have done your homework. This is really, they're steamrolling their way through the opposition. Now the Dragons at the moment going at close to 10 to the over, 5 overs completed, 47 for no loss, and chasing just 140. These are ominous signs from the Dragons, you have to say. Ghani on 19, Zazai on 23. Boria, what does your fantasy score look like? Because I'll be honest, I haven't been doing very well.
Mine is 270 at the moment now, 270.
Well, I'm well behind on 208 and I'm trying to figure where in the world did I lose out on all those points.
I will say, I have gone in this particular team. I'm playing with 3 teams, and all 3 are in green. I think all 3 are doing reasonably well. 270, 268, and 267.5, my top 3 teams.
Brilliant.
So I'm doing well. And in one of my teams, the one that I'm talking about, I've actually got Hazratullah Zazai as captain and Usman Ghani as vice captain. So I'm pretty much delighted the way things are. If this continues for 5 more overs.
Right, there's less than 100 required now for the Dragons, and they are the table toppers. Remember, each team plays the other team only once, so it is a relatively shorter league. And what that means is no room for error, no room for complacency. And at the moment, 4 out of the 6 teams have played 3 matches, won 2, and lost just the 1 game. So it really is a lot closer than it seems, but the Banda-e-Amir Dragons are stamping their authority. They already have a very dominating run rate. A win over here will put them right at the top. The Messianic Knights are number 2, the Kabul Eagles at number 3, and the Speen Ghar Tigers at number 4. At the moment, the 4 teams at the top who are likely to make it to the playoffs. The Bush Defenders and the Ammo Sharks in positions 5 and 6.
That was a good shot. That was a good save. Nabi could have gone for a boundary from Usman Ghani, and it brings Hazratullah Zazai back on strike against KS. Hazratullah Zazai announced himself on world stage quite beautifully. If you remember, against Bangladesh, an amazing innings at Zimbabwe, 80 odd. Was a brilliant innings. In fact, I remember in that series, in one of the games, I did have Hazratullah Zazai as captain in my and he got 100 or some 60 odd balls, or some 80 odd or 60 odd balls, and it was a fabulous match. Yes, absolutely. My producer just reminded me. Hazratullah Zazai is one of those guys who's hit 6 sixes. We know some of the others, our friend, the superstar, the rock star of T20 cricket, wanting to make a comeback. Yuvraj Singh hit 6 sixes. Beautiful ball. Yuvraj Singh and Stuart Broad, all of us remember that. Ravi Shastri and Tilak Raj, all of us remember that. Sagafi, Sobers and Malcolm Nash in 1968, all of us remember that. And that there is a tremendous controversy about the ball that Malcolm Nash used. There's a whole book on that Malcolm Nash ball. Krishna, at some point in time, I'll pass it on.
Boria Majumdar, not all of us remember this. Only Boria Majumdar will remember every one of this.
My 2 pence Navneet, my 2 pence Navneet, I have to also make a living.
Well, if there's anyone, absolutely anyone, while Usman Ghani continues to dominate this game, coming back to what Boria mentioned, if there is anyone that can go down memory lane and remember everything that happened in the game of cricket, it certainly is Boria Majumdar. Right, a 50-run partnership up over here. It is quite literally only going one way this game. 53 of 38. Usman Ghani 24, Hazratullah Zazai 24. Both of them of 18 deliveries, neck to neck. Quite literally nothing to choose between these 2 players. And at the moment, it is all Dragons right now. The Tigers, at the same mark, at the end of the power play, were 23 for 2. And the Dragons, in many ways, are actually indicating how well this pitch is to bat on. Teams in the first 9 games have enjoyed batting here, plenty of scores in excess of 170. So when you look at that in the context of the tournament, 139 is certainly below par, Boria.
Absolutely below par. There is no question. Absolutely, you are spot on. Krishna, as you see the commentary crowd, I think this is a piece of cake from here on. I don't see this team sort of really suffering because they've got a good batting lineup. There's Asghar Afghan, there's enough batting. Karim Sadiq not had a good game so far. Pretty ordinary with the bat. That shot where he moved away looked horrible. He's against Usman Khan, the man in form. So there you go. 56 without a wicket. This is turning out to be very easy. Krishna, why don't we tell? Okay, let's have a quiz here. You give me a cricketer of your choice, and I will tell you a story in between balls. Krishna.
Well, we're talking about Afghan cricket, and I'm going to bring up Afghan's greatest son. I'm going to talk about Rashid Khan. Tell us a little bit about Rashid Khan that we don't know.
Okay, Rashid Khan, this is a very interesting one. I mean, when Rashid Khan first announced himself on the Wall Street, and he said 17 years, incredible, and his captain was my dear friend Dave Gordon. I asked him, who is he 17? And you should have seen the laugh. It was at ITC Calcutta, and the two of them were on a show with me. And David looked at me, winked and said, "This is off camera." It was great fun. It was great fun. I mean, I absolutely remember. Rashid Khan is a real rockstar. He's a good boy. He's a nice guy. If you go and ask him for an interview, he will never say no. He's a real life story. The way he continued playing when his father departed this universe, and the way he paid respects to his then departed father tells you a lot about the character of the man. What an emblem for Afghanistan, Rashid Khan is. But that shot for me the shot of the CPL was Rashid Khan. What was that? Helicopter shot? Oik? How do you describe that first ball six that Rashid Khan did in the CPL?
Yeah, I saw a little footage of that shot. Quite outrageous, I'd have to say. But I love that little story. You can trust Boria Majumdar to always have something up his sleeve. We're going to try to get as many tidbits as we can from Boria. Just coming back to what Rashid has done for Afghanistan cricket, while we talk about a match that is fairly one-sided at the moment, he really has inspired an entire generation of cricketers to pick up this sport. And he has done that in a very short span of time. It's been inspirational in so many ways. And I've also had the opportunity to follow Nepal cricket very closely from close quarters by virtue of being a commentator for the Everest Premier League. It is very similar to what Paras Katka and Sandeep Lamichhane have done for Nepal cricket. And to just see associate nations really have some larger-than-life personalities leading from the front and inspiring millions and millions of youngsters. If anything, it really is brilliant for the game of cricket.
Without doubt. I mean, Paras Katka had come over to Australia for the Sydney Test match between India and Australia in 2018. The match that turned up 5 wickets in, and Paras and I we actually watched the game together. Gideon Haigh, my dear friend and one of world cricket's best writers at this point in time, interviewed Paras Katka. What a fantastic story that was. And my friend Michael Clark discovered Sandeep Lamichhane and
Apologies, we've just lost Boria for a second. Hopefully he'll be back very soon. But yeah, just talking about Paras Katka, he's just been a real statesman. Apart from being one of the leading cricketers in Nepal, and well, Rashid Khan, Mohammad Nabi and Mujib have done exactly that, taking Afghanistan and certainly putting them in the world map of cricket. And coming back to the game over here, 62 for no loss, 8 overs completed. It is all Dragons at the moment. Karim Sadiq, everyone expecting so much from Karim Sadiq. He had 235 points, mind you, before the start of this game. 10 credit points. Over 90% of us have him in our squad, which which means that there was a lot that was expected from the captain.
Paras Khatka and I watched the Sydney Test match in 2018 between India and Australia together. And he had come over to Australia to play great cricket. And Gideon Haigh interviewed Paras Khatka. What a fantastic story that is. So, having commentated for the Everest Premier League, I'm sure you have a lot of insights. But between Sandeep Lamichhane and Paras Khatka, what great stories they are, aren't they?
Absolutely, and different, very different stories. Paras Khatka has been around for eternity in Nepal cricket. He quite literally is synonymous with Nepal cricket, Moria. And I'll be honest with you, the manner in which the Nepal population look up to Paras, it is exactly the same Virat Kohli or a Sachin Tendulkar has had over these 1 or 2 decades. He is easily the Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar of Nepal cricket. And Sandeep Lamichhane, a very different story. A youngster just coming through the ranks and is today one of the big names in franchise cricket. From the Big Bash League to the Caribbean Premier League to the IPL, the man is everywhere. Bamboozling batsmen, brilliant economy rates, so many variations, and exciting. It really is nice to see players from the smaller nations come in and make a mark for themselves. And that is the beauty of this. We saw Parvez with the bat. We're seeing some of the stars with the bat in the second innings as well. It augurs well for Afghan cricket.
It does. And what I'm seeing here, Navneet, is Hazratullah Zazai clearly has lost weight. Last year, he had put on weight, which is why he wasn't able to really sort of, maneuver himself in the crease. I think he has done work on his fitness, which is great to see. Because Zazai is a rare talent that Afghanistan cricket needs to nurture. 66 in 9 months. And our friend Devanuj tells me Rashid Khan is the 8th highest wicket taker in T20. Is 307 odd wickets in 221 matches. But more importantly, if you look at the number of matches and look at that low strike rate, I think he's not 8th. He will be up there. He will be much up there. Rashid Khan has had tremendous impact. Only recently are teams trying to play Rashid out. Otherwise, Rashid had tremendous impact. By the way, Navneet, do you know who discovered Sandeep Lamichhane?
Give us another Boria special, please.
No, this is actually not sort of anything. I was first told about Sandeep Lamichhane way back by Michael Clark, because Sandeep Lamichhane is a product of the Michael Clark Academy, and Michael used to praise Sandeep Lamichhane to be a huge. I mean, saying this is a real superstar coming out of Nepal. Watch for this guy. And he's very good. So if you see, Sandeep credits Michael Clark as his mentor, every day. And if you see, every time Sandeep does very well, you will see Michael Clark tweeting or praising Sandeep Lamichhane as KSL comes into.
That is so good to hear. That is a massive from Hazratullah Zazai. He is doing this quite handsomely and convincingly here. The Dragons are motoring along. In the slot, what does he do? He absolutely smashes it over long on, well over the boundary line. In a nice picturesque Kabul International Stadium, the few fans that we have here are being treated to some high quality batting by Usman Ghani and Hazratullah Zazai. They're going stroke to stroke and on par at the moment. Well, this is only going one way, Boria.
It is. And what is your team score?
Well, you know what? I'm talking to you about other stuff just so that I can stay away from that. I'm at 263 at the moment.
Okay, I am not doing too badly at 345.
Wow. That's not too bad at all. 441 is what the leaderboard at number 1 has. I'm well behind that. So you know what, it's been like a Kareem Sadiq day that I've had with my fantasy game today. Not the best outing. I am making up some points with Usman Ghani and Zazai in the center, but I'm guessing 90% of other fantasy players are as well. So Ah, this is easy. This is really, really high quality annihilation, I would have to say. This is disastrous from a Tiger's perspective, absolutely jubilant from a Dragon's perspective. They're making this look easy.
What a strong man this person is. Shpageeza Zazai, the star for Afghanistan cricket along with Usman Ghani. This is turning out to be a good crop of Afghan players. If you really think you've got Nasibur and Najibullah Zadran, you've got Mohammad Nabi, you've got Asghar Afghan, you've got some really good players coming through the ranks. So do not rule out Afghanistan. The T20 World Cup in India next year. Hopefully COVID will allow. That could be caught. That could be caught. And it is.
Well, finally, Kai Simon gets something going his way. That is a good piece of bowling, and I think it was Shabir Noori with the catch. I'm going to try to get a quick confirmation on that, but a fantastic innings from Hazratullah Zazai comes to an end. 42 of just 29 deliveries and plenty of points for Dream11 players. Almost at the halfway mark, 83 for 1. Boria, just curious, are you aware of cricketers, international cricketers who are active fantasy cricket players?
I was very pleasantly surprised. I was actually doing a show with Phil Simmons yesterday, and I was trying to explain to him the basics of fantasy about picking his final team for CPL. And he actually completely stumped me and started telling me exactly what I wanted to tell him about fantasy. So clearly, there are these silent spreaders in the current terminology who spread the message of fantasy cricket, but in a very positive way. So I'm sure a lot of these people play fantasy sport because it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining. So all of these players, I'm sure, play fantasy sport.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's a concept that, well, really, if we talk about it, is really come to life in the last 3 to 4 years or so. We all know of how big fantasy football is in other parts of the world, but to just see how it's caught on in India and the pace at which it really is becoming widespread is wonderful. It's entertaining, like you said, it's so exciting and brings a very different dimension to just watching cricket.
That's a single, and let me tell you, Mohammad Nabi is the number one all-rounder internationally. Rashid Khan, the number one bowler. Imagine that. Two Afghanistan players in the number one position in the world rankings for T20. What does that mean for Afghanistan?
Brilliant, absolutely. And these guys were newbies a while ago. They certainly aren't anymore. They put India to the test in the 2019 Cricket World Cup last year in the UK for sure. Indian fans certainly were a little tensed. Right, we're at the halfway mark, 84 for 1, 10 overs to go. But it certainly is advantage Dragons. And a change in the commentary box. I'm going to bring in Arun Venugopal as he and Boria are going to take you through the next 5 overs.
So Arun, there's only one winner from here on. What do you say? I've been lucky today. My teams have done recently. Arun, that's fantasy. That's fun. Only if, and hindsight is such a beautiful statement. Only if I had Parvez in my team. Parvez Malikzai, I could have well been in the top reckoning. I mean, the winner is at the moment at 450 odd points. I'm on 350 points, so I'm still way behind. But my team's done reasonably okay. So 350 is not bad. That's a tremendous shot from Asghar Afghan. Absolutely, I have. Absolutely, all my teams have Usman, Ghani, and